Hello and welcome to my channel Tech and Travel with Asif. My name is Asif Ali Bhatt. I'm a tech enthusiast, nature lover, and a software developer by profession. This channel is all about programming and travel, and this is my first ever video on YouTube. Today I have decided to start with a base concept in C Sharp, which is very simple, but yet some people are scared about it. Today I'm going to talk about delegates in C Sharp. So what is the definition of a delegate? A delegate is simply a type that represents a reference to a method, and that method should match the signature of the delegate we define. If you have worked in C++, delegates are similar to function pointers, which hold the reference to functions. The method, which is referred by delegate, is just like an event handler. And how do we declare a delegate? As simple, the access modifier like public, then the keyword delegate, return type, delegate name, and the list of parameters. However, there can be no parameters, and the return type even can be void. Delegates can be instantiated like simply the delegate name and then the name of the instance, for example del obj is equal to new, again the delegate name, and then we have to pass the name of the method which this delegate is going to refer to. Or simply we can say delegate name, then the instance name, say del obj is equal to that method name. Both the things do the same job. Delegates are invoked simply by the instance name, for example in our case del obj, followed by parentheses. However, that may still sound complex to some extent. Let's make it easy with an example. This is Shaw, a cute little boy. He has got $2 from his dad, and he makes his mind to get some ice cream with this money. However, he doesn't want to do this work himself. Rather, he calls his brother. Or technically, we can say he invokes his brother and tells him, "Hey bro, this is the money. Please get me some ice cream from the market." So what's happening between Shaw and his brother Sinjin? Shaw is delegating some work to his brother Sinjin. What that work is about, Shaw is giving some money to his brother, which we can say is input, and in return he's expecting some ice cream from his brother. So our input is money from Shaw and the output is ice cream. So input is taken by Shaw's brother, and in return he gives ice cream to Shaw. And that's the delegation of work here. So the delegate defined here tells that there will be an input which is some money, and the return type or the output of this method will be ice cream. And in this case, Shaw is acting as an event raiser because he is making some request for some work to be done, and his brother Sinchin is acting as an event handler because it's he who does the actual job. I think that should be pretty interesting to understand the theoretical concepts about delegates. Let's now dive into the code and let's see delegates in action. Alright, so let's see delegates in action. What I have done, I opened my Visual Studio 2017. You can even use Visual Studio Code. So let's open Visual Studio IDE and create a new project. Here are available templates, and we have to choose console app .NET Framework. Let's name our app as Delegate Delegates app. Let's say the location is somewhere here. Okay, alright, that's perfect. Or you can change it. Okay, This is a simple program and it has a static method main, which is the entry point for a console application. Now, in order to begin with, to play around with delegates, we have to first declare our custom delegate. As I mentioned in my slides, the syntax is pretty simple. Public delegate, say return type is void. Let's get a simple one. Let's name it as my disk delegate. It doesn't take any arguments. So we have done here, we declared a delegate whose name is my basic delegate. It doesn't take any arguments and it doesn't return anything. That means the method, sorry, typo here. The method it's referring to will be some method or function which will not take any arguments and will not return anything. So the next thing to do about delegates is to create an instance of the delegate, which I showed in my slides is like delegate name, then instance name, say obj del, obj del is equal to new my basic delegate, basic delegate, and here we have to pass the method name which this delegate will refer to. Since we have not created any method yet, we cannot do the delegate instantiation. Let's comment this line out and create a method first. So in the interest of time, let me paste a simple code here. Let's call this as basic method. Okay, and now we can create an instance of the delegate using this syntax, and we can pass my basic method here. So we are passing actually method as a parameter. This is possible only via delegates. Next thing is to invoke the delegate. That's how we do by the instance name itself, obj del, then parentheses. So in order to hold our result on the console screen, let's write console.readline. Alright, perfect. Let's try it. Okay, cool. I am a basic method. So this is the method that got invoked through the delegates. We did not invoke this method directly. We defined a delegate. We created an instance of the delegate, and then we invoked that delegate. That's pretty simple. Let's create another delegate which takes some arguments like public delegate. Say we have to create a delegate for sum of two numbers, which returns also a result which is integer. Say return type is int. My sum delegate. It takes two numbers, two integers, int x and y. Okay, let's instantiate the delegate. My sum delegate, for example, say instance name is del sum, is equal to, again we had to create a method which matches the signature. We match the signature of this delegate, that's which takes two arguments, integer type arguments, and returns an integer type result. We don't have that yet. Let's create that first. Let's go here, public static. This time we have a return type int, so our function or the method has to match that signature, and my sum method, any name you like, and it's going to take two arguments of integer type, say a and b. And let's say it prints the result, it returns the result of sum of these two numbers. Return A plus B. That's it. Now we can instantiate our sum delegate. My sum delegate del sum is equal to, let's refer this to the method my sum method. It's simple. Now if we invoke this del sum delegate, like this, however, as we know it returns an integer type result, let's store that somewhere. Let's declare an integer type variable and result is equal to del sum, and let's pass two numbers, 2 and 5 to it. Also, let's print the result in console. Console dot write line sum of these two numbers is plus result. It's simple. Let's try that out. Okay, perfect. Sum of these two numbers is 7 because we passed 2 and 5. That's 2 plus 5 is 7. So far, we created delegates and which refer to some named methods because we have a method myBasic method which is already defined here. We have method sum method which is already defined here. Then we assign these methods to our delegates. However, there's another way to create the delegates which refer to anonymous methods so that we don't have to separately create some methods which we can assign to our delegates. Let's see how. So let me change the same myBasic delegate instance, and let's first get rid of this code here. Instead of passing this myBasic method, let's say we don't have it here. I want to create the definition of the function here itself. What we had to do, we had to write is equal to delegate, and then since it doesn't take anything like this, here we can write console dot write line I am an anonymous method referred by my delegate. Since we don't define any method which could be passed to this delegate, we create the definition of that method here. This is called an anonymous method. So here our delegate is referring to an anonymous method. Let's see the results again. On it. Oops, we did not invoke this delegate yet. We have to invoke it here. Let's invoke it. Here we are pointing it to an anonymous method so that the definition is available here. The handler itself is available here. And now we have to invoke this delegate. Let's run it again. Alright, perfect. I am an anonymous method referred by myBasic delegate. We can do the similar thing with our mySum delegate. Now let's create an anonymous method for our sum delegate as well. Let's do it here. mySum delegate del sum is equal to delegate and two parameters int A and B. That's it. Okay, now we have to return A plus B again. So earlier we had this mySum method. Let's remove this, and we don't have any predefined methods which will be passed to our delegates. Rather, we anonymously create method definitions at the time of instantiating our delegates. And now again, let's call int result is equal to delSum plus two numbers 5, 6. Let's print that result. Console, sorry, right line. The results is plus result. Alright, let's run the code again. And we invoked it here. This should work now. Perfect. 5 and 6 is 11. So we got the same results but without having a predefined method. That's cool. If you remember in my slides, I had mentioned when I was giving this example of show was an event eraser and his brother Sinjin was event handler. Events can be associated with delegates pretty well. We can even create an event of this type delegate, like public event, let's name of this type my delegate, my basic delegate, and let's name our event as my event. Okay, that's cool. So we are defining an event which is of type this delegate. That means when this event is raised, it's invoking this delegate. This delegate will find that definition for that event or the event handler for that event. Let's define, earlier we had my basic method. Let's create something here. Public static void my basic handler. Doesn't take anything because it has to match this signature, my base delegate. And let's say console.writeLine. I am a basic handler. Let's say event handler. Right. Now let's raise this event. First, before that, we have to instantiate that event. Okay, so we define an event of this type, and we had to instantiate this event. My event I'm getting it here. Oops, yeah. You remember we are inside this static method, void static, so we had to make this also static. Otherwise, if you're not working within static methods, you can do without this keyword. Okay, my event is equal to, now I had passed the event handler to it, which is my basic handler. Right? Now we can simply call my event. Let's remove this sum. Let's not call that. What we did, we created an event, we declared rather an event which is of type this my basic delegate. This is the event name, and we instantiate this event with an handler. We had to give the handler for this event, which is my basic handler, and then we raise this event here. Raise event. Let's see what happens. It should do when we call my event. That's when this event is raised. It should call the handler. The handler is here because we assign that handler in this line. Let me write a comment here. Assign the event handler. Okay, let's run it again. I am a basic event handler. That's what we wanted. So events associating an event with a delegate, because if you think of the button clicks. When you click a button, what actually is happening inside, there's an event handler associated with that click event, which invokes that event handler is some delegate behind the scenes, which we don't care about because that's already taken care by the framework we are using. So that's pretty much all. Now, the question in our minds would be that why do we use these delegates? Why was there need to define the delegates and then call these functions? Of course, absolutely, you're right. We could have directly used our methods, which we assign to our delegates, then we invoke the delegates. There was no need to do that. However, the real purpose, the real need, or the application of delegates is different, which we do in real projects and which I'm going to share with you guys hopefully in my next video, that how we can reuse the code, minimize the code using the delegates without having to write same block of code everywhere. So that's it for today. I really appreciate you guys for your time and dedication to watch this video till end. Since this was my first video, there were some problems like audio quality and background noise, but I'm gonna improve that in my next videos with your support and motivation. Thank you.